Welcome back to Cloud Space with Siba. In this video, we are going to then add some other configuration into our repository. And what I mean by that is we're going to add some essentially secrets, and essentially those secrets are going to be two things. Number one, it's going to be a default region that we're going to use throughout our workflow. But also importantly, what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to bring in the ARN of this role here, because that's the role we're going to put in our workflow for GitHub Actions to be able to assume. So let me just copy that now and come to secret actions, and in there I want to create some new secrets, and I'm going to call this IAM role, put that there. Okay, and then I'm going to add another one for the region, add another one. This one is not really necessary, but I'll just put it in just for convention's sake, I guess. Please try again. Okay, I've never seen that happen. I've never seen that happen. EU West 1. Oh, I think I'll say West 2. I think it's because I didn't put the value. I don't know. I don't know what happened. So anyways, we've got these over here. I don't think there's anything else that I need to set on here. Let me just think for a second. I doubt it. No, it's fine. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to come here. I'm going to create a new folder called .github, right? And in there, I'm going to create another one called workflows. And inside of the workflows, I'm going to create a file called build spec. You can call it anything as long as it's a YAML file. Okay. And this is where we're going to have essentially the configuration for the pipeline. So give it a name and say GitHub Actions with IAM role. Okay. Cool. And then it's gonna run when we push changes, right? And then in terms of the environment variables, then we have permissions here. I'll just write that out now before I forget. So in variable, shoot, come on, man. AWS underscore region is gonna come from secrets dot AWS underscore region. I'm just gonna copy this and put it here, and then we're gonna have IAM role, and I'll copy that and put that here. Okay, cool. We've created these two environment variables here. Then from a permissions point of view, we're gonna do contents, and there we're going to be able to say read only permissions, and then importantly we need to add another one called ID token, and that's just going to allow for JWT tokens between these two platforms. Then in the job section, let's name our job we'll call it assume role. Yeah, I'm just going to call it assume role. And then it runs on Ubuntu latest. Okay, that's where it's going to run. And then the steps in there, what I'm going to do is we're going to say name, and then we're going to clone repository. Then it's going to use actions / check out at version 4. Okay, all right. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to say name. Let's say configure AWS credentials. It uses, sorry, it's not going to use that. It's going to use AWS actions / configure. We need to name these things correctly. AWS dash credentials at version 4. Okay, essentially what this will allow us to do is it'll allow us to use our role to get credentials. Go back to that thing I was saying in the first video, which is now we never have to manage that ourselves. So the role to assume will come from the environment variable called IAM role, which obviously itself comes from secrets. And then we're going to say role session name. I'm just going to call it GitHub Actions Federation. Okay, then the AWS region. I'm going to say env, and obviously that's going to be the region that we set at the top there. Now, we are essentially we're cloning we're checking the repository. And then here we get the credential set up, and then in the last step here, what we'll do is we'll say, give it a name as well, and we'll say list buckets. That's what we'll do here, and it's not going to use a specific action. Instead, it'll say AWS S3 LS. That's all it's going to do, really. In fact, it's just going to be a single line. Let's just put it here, to be honest. That's all it's going to do. So it's going to ls buckets, and I think we're done. Looks correct for the most part. So now I'm going to say get. So if you look at status, obviously we've added that directly over there. So I'm going to say get. I'm going to add everything. Then we're going to commit, and we're going to say that we added workflow steps. Cool. Then we're going to push all of that. Now, the moment we push this, remember we said this is going to fire on push, right? So now we're pushing it, and if we come to actions here, I don't think that's come through yet. Let's just check. Okay, now there should be actions. Why are my actions not showing? I wonder if let me just check if I named everything correctly. GitHub. Ah, that's why. So let's just rename this quickly. It's workflows. Cool. Let's do the process again. So let's add name fix. That's what we did here. Okay, then what we need to do is push. See, these things happen. Let's just go back here. Let's just refresh the page. I want to see if it actually. Ah, there we go. Workflows. Now let's try. Oh my goodness. What's the problem? Work. Ah, my goodness. All right, let me try. Rename it again. Workflows. Okay, let's go through the process again. Let's add a comment. It's really going to be the same, really. And then let's push. This thing is making this video take forever. All right. It doesn't work this time around. I don't know. So now let's refresh. Can't spell this morning, eh? Workflows. There we go. It's pending. I'm sure there's probably something else that we didn't correctly hear then. So if we come here. Oh, there you go. It worked. So yes, it worked. So we set up the role, we cloned the repository here, obviously. Then importantly, we were able to assume assume the role here. As you can see, we're authenticated, we got the role ID, then we're able to list buckets. So AWS, there we go. Perfect. At least that's the only thing that got to work the first time this morning. All right, guys, that's essentially it. Thank you so much for watching. Now you can see that we've integrated IAM with GitHub Actions using IAM roles, and this kind of really simplifies our life going forward because we don't have to manage keys. And added to that, there's more security because we're not passing keys around, right? So yeah, I hope this has been valuable to you, and I hope that you stick around to subscribe, watch other videos, to like and share all the content that I have here. But also let me know what you'd like for me to look at, and I'll create specific content around those topics. Again, thank you so much for watching. Peace.